Okay, let's get right into it. You've probably seen the headlines swirling around. Julius Malema sentenced to 5 years in prison. I mean, that's huge news. But then, almost in the same breath, the story got, well, confusing. He was sentenced, but he walked right out of the courthouse a free man. So what on earth is going on? In this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you the full story.
Right. This is the big question, isn't it? It feels like a total contradiction. How does someone get a sentence for direct imprisonment but not actually go to prison? It seems wild, but it all comes down to how our legal system is built. And to really get it, we need to jump in the time machine and rewind the clock a bit. You see, this whole story didn't start in a stuffy courtroom. Nope, it started at a massive political rally, with the crack of a rifle shot, a sound that would end up echoing through the halls of justice for years and years to come.
What's really striking here is just how long this all took. I mean, think about it. The incident at the Sisadukashe Stadium, that was way back in July 2018. But it took more than 7 years just to get a guilty verdict, and almost 8 years before a sentence was handed down. This has been an incredibly long and drawn-out legal marathon. So what did the court actually find him guilty of? Well, it wasn't just one thing. They convicted him on 5 separate counts. It wasn't just about firing the gun. It was about having the firearm and the ammo unlawfully to begin with, and then, of course, the incredibly reckless act of firing it in a public, crowded place. This right here, this is the legal bedrock for everything that came next.
All right, so let's fast forward to sentencing day. The court drops this really serious verdict, but Malema's legal team, they were ready. They had a countermove planned that, honestly, changed the entire game in an instant. And this was the number that was everywhere, 5 years. The magistrate didn't mince words. She felt the act was serious enough to warrant direct imprisonment, and she shut down any arguments for a lighter sentence.
But, that big headline number doesn't tell the full story. The 5-year term really comes from that main charge, the unlawful possession. The 2 years for the ammo, that runs concurrently, which just means it happens at the same time, so it doesn't add on top. The other charges were basically fines. So you can see how the court pieced together that final sentence. And here's the thing. This was not a surprise move. This wasn't some last-minute scramble. Malema had already told everyone what his plan was before the verdict was even read. He made it crystal clear an appeal was always the next step. And in that quote, he gives us the biggest clue to this whole puzzle. An appeal suspends the decision.
Okay, now this part is absolutely crucial. So let's break it down. His lawyers tried to appeal 2 things. The conviction itself, the guilty part, and the 5-year sentence. The magistrate said, no way to appealing the conviction. She was firm. He broke the law and that stands. But, and this is the big but, she granted leave to appeal the sentence. She basically said, you know what, a higher court might come to a different conclusion about the punishment. And that was the key that unlocked the whole thing.
And that one decision brings us right to the heart of this explainer. We're going to demystify the legal machinery that's now cranking into gear, a process that's going to keep this story in the headlines for a long, long time.
Because that appeal against the sentence was granted, the entire 5-year prison term is basically put on ice. It's paused. It doesn't get enforced until the entire appeals process has played out, from start to finish. That's why he remains out on a warning. And just to be clear, this isn't some special favor. It's just standard procedure. It's how the system works.
So how long could this take? Well, when we say long road ahead, we mean it. The journey has really just started. The case now moves up to the High Court. If that doesn't go his way, it can go to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and after that, potentially all the way to the Constitutional Court. Each of these steps can take a huge amount of time. We could be talking years before there's a final decision. Now, beyond the whole prison question, there's another massive consequence hanging in the balance here: his actual job. We're talking about his seat as a member of Parliament.
There's a very specific rule for this, and it's written right into Section 47 of the Constitution. And it's not just about getting convicted. It comes down to 2 very specific things: the length of the sentence and whether you could have just paid a fine instead.
The magic number here is 12 months. Malema's 5-year sentence is obviously way over that line, and there was no option to just pay a fine to avoid the jail time. So on the surface, it looks like he should lose his seat, right? Well, there's one more crucial condition.
All right, let's run down the checklist together. 1. Is he convicted of a crime? Yes. 2. Was he sentenced to more than 12 months without the option of a fine? Yes again. But condition number 3, are all of his appeals finalized? And the answer to that is a big fat no. And the Constitution is clear that disqualification from Parliament only kicks in after the appeals process is totally over. So, for now, his seat is safe.
So we end up right back where we started, but now the picture is so much clearer. The 5-year sentence is very real, but its consequences are basically frozen in time, caught in the web of the legal process. What looks like a career-ending conviction is, for now, a long, drawn-out legal and political fight. The final chapter of this story? It's still a long way from being written.